Welcome to Trader's Edge Live's video on backtesting. What we're going to focus on in this chapter is we're going to show you how to go back in time using ThinkBack in Thinkorswim to do the backtesting on all of your credit spreads so you're well versed in all the mechanics and how well this strategy performs. The first thing we're going to do is this is the screen you'll get when you first log into Thinkorswim. What we want to do is give us a little bit more screen for viewing. So to do that, come up to the top corner where it says Account Info. Click on that button, it'll remove all the account info there, so all we're looking at is our screen. Next we come over to the Analyze tab and come down and click on ThinkBack. ThinkBack will take us to the screen you see on your page, and here's where we can go back in time to choose any date forward and back, so that we can, any date back, we can't go that forward in Thinkorswim yet, that'll be Think Forward. I'm sure there'll be a future version a lot more expensive. What we're going to do is first enter in the symbol. We'll enter in the all-popular RUT. And what you'll notice happens is we have the options chain here, something called back trades in here, and an underlying P&L graph here. First thing I'm going to do is close down the P&L graph. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. What we want to now do is go through the same process we do in the Trade tab when we find a credit spread, but we first need to pick a date. We encourage you to go back over the last 5 or 6 years worth of data in Thinkorswim and analyze each month. This will give you a repertoire of not only the skill set that you'll need, but also the ability to click the buttons and understanding how to find the trade and manage the trade precisely. Now, when you go back in time in Thinkorswim, a couple of things to keep note. Number one, some of the data passed about 5 or 6 years ago isn't going to be that good. Mainly has to do with the amount of computing power and how well all this information is recorded. So we're just going to start back with January 1st of this year. So to do that, there's two ways. I can enter in the date I want to use in the date box here, or what I can do is click on this little calendar in the corner and it'll bring up a calendar I can just select the day from. So if we use the little arrow, it goes back 1 month. If we use the big arrow, it goes back 1 year. So we're going to go back to January 1st of 2009. Make that January 2nd. Any of the days in red are either holidays or non-trading days, so you want to make sure you click on a green day. So here we are on January 2nd. We come over and look at our options chain. We can see that we want to meet the 45-day rule. Well, in order to do that, that means that we need to wait a couple of days. That's really easy in ThinkBack. We're going to use these February options, but we need to wait 3 days before we can use them. So to do that, just simply come up. You'll see 2 arrows by the date. Click on the up arrow, go forward 1 day at a time, click on the down arrow, goes back 1 day at a time. So here we are, January 5th, 2009. In the February options, we have 45 days until expiration. So what we're going to do is open up the February options, and you'll notice that the options chain you see is the exact same as the options chain you use in the Trade tab. So you scroll down here, you'll notice that they're all listed by the options singularly. What we want to do is change that from single to vertical. Then noticing that we have 10-point spread in the between the strike prices on the Russell, that tells us that we're going to want to look for a 50-cent credit in the mark column. Now when you first go into ThinkBack, you may have 2 or 3 columns here to look from. To change that's simple. Where it says Layout, click on Mark. Here's where you can select some of the standard ones Thinkorswim gives you, or you can click on Customize. Let's do that real quick to show you how to set this up. Click on Customize. Let's say when you first open this up that you don't have Mark. Let's say you may have a couple of other ones in there, such as Intrinsic and Opera. Well, we only care about the Mark information, so to remove them, pretty simple. Highlight the one you want to remove, click on Remove Item. Highlight the one you want to remove, click on Remove Item. Once you've got it down to just the Mark column, you can click OK. Then you'll have your Mark column listed next to your bid and ask prices. If you ever want to change that from Mark to anything else, you can just simply click on that blue arrow and highlight what you want to look at. For using ThinkBack, we're not going to need any more information right now than the simple mark price. So here we are, we're at the money options, remembering green shaded options are in the money, white shaded options are out of the money. We can start on the put or the call side, it really doesn't matter. We'll go ahead and start with the put side. We're going to scroll up and look for a credit of about 50 cents without going over. So here we go, here's our 50 cents. You can click on that. If you click in the mark column, it will highlight your trade without doing anything else. It's going to be the 350 and the 360. Now there are 2 ways of going about tracking this information. I highly encourage you to take out a sheet of paper that old school yellow line paper or one of those ring binders with a pen or pencil. Write this information down. Keep track of each of your trades, writing them down by hand. What that will do is help sink in some of the information to your brain, but also you'll see a little bit later how that will help when it comes to adjusting the spread. Or what you can do is a second choice. The second option is you can track your trade down here in what's called back trades. To do that, we can click on either bid or ask. Well, we're going to be selling this spread to open, so we obviously will click on bid. Once we click on bid, you'll notice that it puts the trade down here into back trades. Now, it will automatically give you the mark price. There's nothing you need to do to adjust that. But keep in mind here that in back trades and in ThinkBack, there are no placing orders, there are no placing contingency orders, there are no alerts. This is only going to track the trade that you selected. So do not think that once you have this trade in here, you need to send it like you would from the trade tab, or once it's placed, place a contingency order or emergency exit order like you would for a real trade. This is only back testing. So again, once we click on the trade that we want, we click on bid. That puts the trade down into our back trades folder. If we have the wrong trade or if we need to remove it, simply click on the red X. That will delete the trade out of back trades. So we want it back in there, so we highlight the trade we want to use and we click on bid. Now that we've got that trade in our folder, let's go find our trade on our call side. Scroll back down our call side. We're back to the at the money options. Here's the mark column. We're going to look for a 50-cent credit on the in the mark column. Scroll down here, and here we go. Here's the mark column trading for 45 cents. Again, click on ask if you want to buy, bid if you want to sell. We know we're going to sell this option to open, or excuse me, sell this trade to open, so we click on bid. That'll automatically pop the trade down here with a 50-cent credit and one with a 45-cent credit. Here's our put trade and our call trade. Now we're going to work on us moving this trade forward in time, but before we do that, we want to show you how to set up and track this using a visual graph on our underlying charts P&L graph. So to do that, that'll be the next chapter, which is chapter 2.